What's up, people? I'm one of your hosts, Phoenix.
And I am your other host, Titan.
And welcome to NTAT Diablo Server Slam Lightning Review. So we're going to jump right into the video. These are some of our notes from the Diablo Server Slam. And we're going to kind of go over some of the differences from our previous video, which was our Diablo beta review. So we're going to start by talking about the different classes, the two classes that we use. Titan, you use the Necromancer, right?
Yep.
Okay, so tell the audience about some of the patch notes that came out, the things that they kind of changed about your character and how it felt to you.
Okay, so some of the patch notes for the Necromancer is that summoned minions will die more often, requiring players to utilize corpses more often. Many bonuses in the Book of the Dead had their stats increased. The damage dealt by the corpse explosion skill has been reduced. The brightness of the skeleton warriors and mages has been reduced. So overall, this character has had a major nerf. So some of the things that I want to get into is the summon of the minions. Minions are definitely nerfed. This is acceptable during dungeons and free roams, but then when I get to boss fights, it's an unusable skill. The bosses usually wipe out the skeletons with one hit, and then they're useless and not there for the rest of the fight, unless maybe I can get one or two to spawn here and there, but other than that, this has been a really big downfall. The damage dealt by the corpse explosion being reduced, this isn't very noticeable for me, but at the same time, it is apparent that they did take away some abilities of it. I used Blight my first time with the corpse explosion, but this time it's not there, so I'm not sure if they've taken it away, but we'll see you later. The brightness of the skeleton warriors has been reduced. This has actually been a negative for me. So originally, the brightness of the skeletons actually helped me identify where the skeletons were and who they were fighting. So I never got confused about where the skeletons were and who was the enemy. Now, there's just a whole bunch of stuff on screen and I can't really tell who is who and what is what, so I just end up attacking everything in my path. So overall, I haven't noticed a huge difference, but the character has been nerfed a lot.
Alright, so I used the Sorcerer. Going through the patch notes, charged bolts damage was increased and the mana cost was decreased. This was noticeable. It's a lot better than what it used to be, so not a lot there. Decreased the damage of chain lightning and reduced the effectiveness against boss. Now, this was still a very powerful ability, but you could definitely tell that the damage against bosses was there. Decreasing the cooldown for Incinerate skills enhancement bonus. Now, this is a skill that I didn't do a lot with, but I did see some video on, and it seemed to work like all the other decreases in cooldown, so we'll keep you posted. Firewall will now spawn underneath enemies more frequently when using the enhancement bonus. Now, the Firewall was a lot better this go around. I used it a good bit in my playthrough with Titan. Increase the lucky hit chance for the Meteor skill enhancement bonus. This is another skill that I didn't get a chance to try out, so I'll keep you posted on this one. Overall, the Sorcerer felt like the most powerful class in Diablo's beta. It still feels about that in this one, especially with the cooldown and the mana cost reduction. So we'll see how it stacks up to the other characters. Next, we have the backtracking in dungeons. So dungeons have now been fixed, or rather restructured, so that your main objective doesn't end up in some hidden room. You'll be able to find all of your objectives on the main path. So how did this feel to you when we did ours?
So really, I didn't notice too big of a difference. But I did notice that we did get lost at one point, but we were able to look on the map and see exactly where we missed.
Right.
Compared to before, when there was like a little room that you may have missed, and it was so small on the map that it really didn't make a difference. This, it did feel a lot smoother. So in our first playthrough in the beta, it seemed like bosses favored long-range enemies. You could stand back and just completely power through a boss. But this time, it seemed to be more balanced. You could be up close and personal and do your dodges and take your distance, which felt really nice.
Yeah, before it was really lean towards, like when I used the Sorcerer, I could stand back and cast spells and avoid most of the attacks. But when playing up close, and I remember doing that with the Necromancer and some of my abilities like the Scythe, I was taking tons and tons of damage, and it was very difficult to get away from his attacks.
Yep.
So these are our thoughts on the Server Slam. We'll be back later with another video to kind of give you our updates. Also, I want to kind of throw out there that we had no issues getting into the Slam itself, so it seems like the servers are pretty stable at the moment.
It was a very fast load. There was no loading screen that took a while. Also, there was no lag compared to the original one.
Also, The dates are May 12th through the 14th.
All right, folks, that wraps up our Server Slam review for Diablo 4. Don't forget to join us for our next review on the final release date.
And don't forget to like and subscribe.